Mark, how about that? Were you listening into the president's remarks? How about that he interviewed with Boise Cascade and wanted to live in Idaho?
Boise Cascade, as you guys have been around for a long, long time. Originally from Cascade, where the mill was. So, I mean, we're talking about the middle part of the century or earlier. Joe Biden did interview for Boise Cascade a long, long time ago. None of the Boise Cascade employees that he interviewed with are around today to tell you about that experience, I'm sure. But I can tell you that he is a big fan of the West. He has enjoyed his trips out here. They haven't been very many, but I did, I'm going to pull back the curtain, I did email our assistant news director, Natalie Allen, a couple of pictures that I had on file from Dave Beater's trip when he flew on Air Force One. Of course, Dave Beater, the last Boise mayor to meet President Joe Biden. Then he was Vice President Joe Biden in 2009. But he was also a guest of Barack Obama when Barack Obama was flying back to Washington, and Beater was able to hitch a ride back to Washington, D.C., and he's got a very famous picture in the presidential office on board Air Force One, sitting on the other side of the desk from Barack Obama. And he said that desk in Air Force One was 3 times the size of his desk at the Boise City Hall. So the White House has some pretty close connections to Boise mayors. Lauren McLean, of course, the latest.
That was definitely a cool story, and he caught a ride out to Idaho, Mark. Remember, Beater was in D.C., and President,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, President
That's
Obama
right.
was on his way out to speak at Boise State to talk about making community colleges and college more affordable. And we remember in the newsroom, we learned that Mayor Beater was on Air Force One, and we were all going, no way. And then, of course, we were trying to text him and call him while on Air Force One, which doesn't work very well. But maybe we can turn those pictures around and show our viewers here shortly, just as you kind
perspective.
of perspective.
To see what it looks like on the
It's not
inside.
every day that an Idahoan gets to go inside to Air Force One, and so how neat was that you got to watch that family do that?
Yeah. Although there is one Idaho native who is on board Air Force One, as I mentioned, each and every day that it flies, and that's a great connection to the Gem State.
It really is. I love learning those little nuggets that you don't know about. You know, a man from Boise was also President Obama's one of the key advisors to him at that point too, and now we have this connection to Air Force One as well.
There you go. Yeah.